Welcome back. Alliance for a Better Utah is one of many groups that will keep a close eye on what's happening at the Capitol over the next month and a half. Chase Thomas is here to talk more about what's on their agenda for the session. Chase, great to have you back on Inside Utah Politics. Thanks for being here. All right, so I asked you to send me in some of your priorities, and one of them was protecting ballot initiatives.
Yes.
Potentially 5 or 6 now could end up on the ballot. What do you mean by protecting them?
Yeah, so I mean, we're already hearing and seeing bills that are going to either undercut or preempt the ballot initiatives that are going forward. These opportunities for citizens of Utah to express their voice. So one example is Medicaid expansion. Over this last weekend, we heard Greg Hughes saying that he was going to support a Medicaid expansion bill that would add caps to the amount spent, and then also add work requirements for the Medicaid. And so this would severely undermine the full Medicaid expansion that voters would be voting on later this year. There's also one that would reverse Count My Vote, even though Count My Vote is trying to finally push it through the ballot initiative fully. So we're just protecting against these efforts to act before the voters are able to.
So you'd rather see it go to the ballot so all Utahns can vote on it as opposed to a legislative solution? Yeah,
well, and it's because the voters in these ballot initiatives are getting the full extent of what they want rather than a cut-down legislative bill that would happen during the
Interesting
session.
Also that there are now 2 ballot initiatives that go in completely different directions. One would, bring caucuses back as the primary choice. The other one would continue with the signature gathering. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out in general. Transparency and accountability, a big thing you guys will be watching over. What do you mean by that? Yeah,
so transparency and accountability are 2 of the pillars, 3 pillars that make up Alliance for a Better Utah's mission. During the session, we monitor these things because there have been a lot of instances in the past where things have not been done transparently. And where we need to hold our government officials accountable. One big example is the continued practice of the GOP using closed secret caucus meetings to vote on legislation. This happened during the Medicaid expansion debate a few years ago. They went and voted on Healthy Utah and decided they didn't want anything to do with it, and it never came to the floor for a vote. We don't know who voted on that bill. So we want government to be out in the open, not behind closed doors. And so we're going to keep on letting Utahns know that that's happening.
So is that really the goal there, is just trying to get it out in the public? Because really there's no fix on the table for, to keep them from meeting behind closed doors. Yeah, it's just to let the public know, and then little by little, hopefully, the public pressure will be enough to where all government dealings are done out in the open rather than behind closed doors. Okay, what about the argument, though, that behind closed doors are able to talk more openly and freely about it and really get their thoughts and ideas out on the table? They can do that on the floor of the House. I mean, if they have an opinion that's unpopular with the public, then there should be repercussions for that. That's part of the accountability aspect, is that our leaders need to be taking ownership of what they feel rather than just waiting for the next election. Let's move on to a couple of the bills that you guys will be watching. One of them is hate crime. Senator Thatcher's recently became public. You like that bill? Yeah, this is something that we have supported for the past few years. We've been pushing for a stronger hate crimes bill to go through the legislature. Why is that needed? It's because there are people who have been victimized solely because of who they are. We see this happening for years and years for the LGBT community, but it's not only that. Within the past year, hate crimes have been on the rise here in Utah and across the nation for religious minorities and others. There were a lot of instances of Jewish synagogues being targeted after Donald Trump's election. And then we can even just see all the racial strife that's happening. So we need a way for prosecutors to be able to effectively use these laws. Okay, I have about 30 seconds left, but I want to get this one in real quick as well. You'd like to see automatic voter registration? Yes, this is another priority of Alliance for a Better Utah. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to vote. It's already pretty easy here in Utah, but we want to make it even easier. So automatic voter registration would mean what? Well, when you get your driver's license or renew it, you'd automatically be registered to vote or update your voter registration. It's that easy. All right. Chase Thomas, great to have you with us. We'll be seeing a lot of you over the next 45 days or so. Awesome. Thank you so much. Up next, the panel of journalists who will be covering the session. They will be weighing in on the top